All right, welcome back. We got our next game going to be coming up here, VGJ.Storm versus Leviathan. Should be another fun one here. I mean, obviously you got your favorites, VGJ.Storm, but Leviathan, we'll see if BSJ and crew can step up here in this game now. It's
Well,
going
they
to be
have
tough, though.
if they want to go to TI, right? Leviathan.
That's true.
This is it.
I don't know if this is how many games have they played? Just the 2? They have played 2. They are 0-2 right now. So they're 0-3, excuse me. Okay.
Oh.
You're not wrong. They need to win this.
So if they lose this, are they out?
They're not 100% out because the top 5 ultimately advance on. Obviously, first place going, and then the next 4 advance to the playoffs. So they're not 100%, but it's going to be difficult.
They do play 5 games today, or 6 games. They play a lot of games today.
Yeah.
So they'll pretty much know by the end of today where they stand.
That's true. MRP, by the way. Yeah, welcome back.
Hey, yeah, and unfortunately, one of their losses was to Justice Squad. So, yeah, it's dicey. This is pretty much a must-win, even though it's not mathematically a must-win.
I don't know who was brought this up earlier. I forget, but Beastmaster not really seen a whole lot in the NA region. Was that UMRP that brought that up?
Yeah,
Might have been. Yeah. Well, sure enough, picked here by VGJ.Storm actually with the Wind Ranger. So no Wind Ranger Drow strategy going on, but Beastmaster's pretty good too.
Yes, Sand King Skywrath also nothing too uncommon for what we've seen recently. Super potent kill duo, and both of them good laners in their own right, whether they lane together or not.
There's something really bothering me. What's up with Beastmaster's legs?
What do you mean?
They do look different.
Muscular.
I mean,
What are you
they're
getting at,
muscular, but then like when you look at his upper body.
They
don't
are
really
tiny.
fit.
Yeah.
My guy's skipping.
Skipped
big time.
leg day, yeah. A little bit there.
People,
So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, people have been pretty much prioritizing Wind Ranger in like every region that we've seen so far.
Outside Optic, obviously, really going that Bloodseeker specifically, but in this case, even banned here by Storm with the second tier bans. Now, I'm wondering, are we going to see a Drow ban? Because it could be, right? Drow with a Ranger and a Beastmaster. That's pretty deadly.
It's so hard when you're playing best of ones because you have to ban all these Drow Rangers, Huskars, Bloodseeker style heroes that, make the game super, super chaotic. But I feel like the better team is the one that's going to ban these heroes. Because they can probably beat this team 9 out of 10 times with a normal game.
Yeah.
Right? So they want to eliminate any X factors. So perhaps this could be some sort of Huskar setup for BSJ. He's played Huskar once or twice back in the day, so maybe I'll pick that up.
Are you a fan of playing Huskar against Wind Ranger
Absolutely
Beastmaster
not.
though?
It's awful.
Aren't those like 2 of the better heroes?
Yes. But they're desperate. They're 0-3. Not much to lose besides this game.
I don't think Brian is desperate. He'll believe in himself.
Okay. Well, that's good.
There's one thing about that guy is like he's got like unwavering confidence in a good way.
Ooh. They take Visage for themselves. We've been hinting at the possibility of Visage with Optic, but haven't seen it yet due to bans and just passing it up. But Leviathan will pick it up here.
Okay.
Instead.
Very interesting. This gives VGJ.Storm 3 picks against the Visage to find a decent matchup. This could be like a Visage Drow setup, perhaps.
Okay.
What do you guys think about that from Team Leviathan? Is this just the qualifier cheese?
Drow is successful this event so far. I want to say she's 2-0, at least in the matches that we've been casting here today. So
I think in general in BO1s you kind of see those heroes come to the forefront a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of an early Visage pick. I don't know that. I mean, they could be feigning it and like hoping to garner a ban. But Wind Ranger and Beastmaster are pretty good at getting on top of her. So.
Still need. It's obviously the question mark now. Where will that Wind Ranger end up? We've seen it in mid. We've seen it in offlane. We've seen it support. Really can be all over the place. One of the several reasons why she's such a good first pick hero. Blitz was talking about earlier.
Have you guys seen Wind Ranger win many games?
It's
I
been
feel
working.
like I keep seeing Wind Ranger lose.
Yeah.
And she's picked in the first phase like every single game. I'm really curious to see what the win rate of this hero is. I know Beastmaster has had a lot of success. Well, I don't know about that, but in South America, it definitely has. Not sure about the North America too much. Because there's always like a meta whenever there's like some long qualifier or long event, right? And it kind of shapes. First teams think this hero is really strong. Right now, it's like Wind Ranger, Skywrath Mage, and then now we have like some new players coming into the hero pool: Huskar, Drow Ranger, and it's always interesting to see how it changes as the tournament goes on, because you can't really practice in this time,
Yeah.
You're playing qualifier matches all day long, afterwards you're probably looking at the games, looking forward to what's coming
You
up
have to
next.
adapt on the fly.
Exactly.
That's part of it, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, Blitz, you have plenty of experience with that with your history, especially. Is that something that what do you feel like that is, or how they're going through that as far as adapting on the fly?
It's a lot harder than people think. It's not some easy thing where it's just like, oh well, everyone's picking this. Because if you don't have experience with it, then it's like a different meta entirely. Like you're essentially like when you go into these quals, you just have your set ideas about Dota, then you just hope and you just like pray that yours are better than the enemy teams.
Wind Ranger, by the way, is the third most played hero in these regional qualifiers. Again, that's amongst all the regions. 52% win percentage, so
That's not bad.
Okay.
That's
breaking
better.
even pretty
That's
much.
totally fine.
That's fantastic for like how first pick she is.
Yes. And stats don't lie. That means she wins more than half the time.
Yeah.
That is exactly what 52%.
Exactly.
Just about.
The numbers add up.
Yep.
So
I did the math.
Winter Wyvern. That's not your popular go-to support necessarily, but strong pick this game.
It's nice against Visage, and if there's a potential draw strat, like any sort
Yes.
of all-in thing, then Wyvern is excellent against that.
Yep. It definitely makes you not want to pick a Dro style strategy into this kind of lineup.
You'll die to the birds. Anybody that gets cursed up.
Yep.
So now Leviathan perhaps having to think about something else if they were planning the draw for themselves, as they're suggesting there. Also depends where the Visage is going to end up. Could be mid, could be safe lane,
That's
could be
true.
off lane.
That's
So
true.
really any of the three.
Huh. Well, it looks like Team Leviathan are also heavily thinking about this pick. They have almost... Oh, here it is. Elder Titan. Okay.
So
this
Sand
means
King
that-
off lane.
Yeah, it looks like Sand King off lane. But, I don't know. I'm never convinced with this hero as the primary offlaner. Just because, obviously he pushes lane in with Caustic, he can destroy some melee matchups, but it's, if he doesn't get that fast start, he's a glorified support, basically. Right? And sometimes if your lane's really hard, you actually have less farm and less levels than a support hero. So.
It's funny you say that because looking at the stats right here, 7th most played hero, Sand King, 36% win percentage.
Wow.
That's not that good for 7th played overall hero. That's
They did not
definitely
run
on
the
there.
numbers on this one.
No, kind of overlooked that right there. So definitely some backup to that. Is it possible? Could you argue maybe going the Elder Titan, more of a core, more focus? There's the draw, by the way.
Okay.
Oh boy. So yeah, they get with the Wind Ranger and the Beastmaster this time. I remember when they first picked the Drow with the Wind Ranger, the Beastmaster was banned against them later on. Now they get all three.
We're going to get to a point in this qualifier where Drow is like first banned.
Yeah, it's
First phase banned.
it feels like it. But yeah, Drow coming up for Storm. Now Leviathan, do they have enough answers already is the question, and can they answer it with the final pick? It's a tough spot.
Oh, this looks really bad for Leviathan.
Yeah.
Now they have like a Sand King offlane against the Drow. Like you actually can't close the gap until you have levels. It looks like you won't even be able to contest the lane. And then you just have an offlane Sand King who's going to struggle to really accomplish anything early game. I am very worried, but I do like their logo. It's new and improved.
I think the old one was stolen by somebody or some.
Stolen? What do you
I
mean?
can't remember. There was
Uh-oh.
like some story I read about it, about some guy that used to work for them that was shady.
Man.
That's
Well-
what we need today, more drama.
Well, no big deal, because now it's even better.
Mm-hmm.
True. So the final picks coming up here. Storm will have the first of the final themselves. So at least Leviathan has that going for them. They're going to get the overall final pick. But Spectre Ban coming out from Storm. Taking that option away here.
So Windrunner could be offlane, potentially, like as the 4 position hero, right?
Yeah, they banned Lena. Did Leviathan, so leaning towards that even themselves. And I think you could argue, is maybe an argument to be made that Wind Ranger as a 4 would be better off even in a Drow lineup, right? Because she can become a, carry of sorts even in that 4 role.
Right, she could make the transition. It does depend on the game, on what they want to do with their lanes. But Windrunner against Visage mid, it's not a bad matchup at all. All right, DK.
So I'll ask him with the Drow.
Heavy push.
Yes.
Lot of fight.
Is Leviathan set up to fight against him? I mean, I guess their team fight is solid, right? Sand King, Elder Titan, but that's going to require a little bit of farm. Blink Dagger specifically on Sand King. Veno brings a little bit more?
I feel like if you get BKB on VGJ.Storm, your heroes are unkillable.
Yeah,
Like
True.
they literally aren't gonna get touched. Like as soon as that DK and that draw get BKB, I'm trying to envision the team fight brax, and I don't see it.
No, it looks extremely difficult, and I don't see Sandkin getting off to a good start this game at all either.
Mr. P, or MRP, excuse me. What do you
Mr.
think?
P.
Yeah, I wasn't so like in the last pick for Leviathan, I was looking for something to spread the fight and something with wave clear. And I don't know that Venom. I mean, spreading the fight is definitely one thing he can do, and he's not necessarily countered by the Winter's Curse, but it does feel like they can just kind of shove it down Leviathan's throat. It's a bit concerning. I mean, again, they have some crazy team fight potential, and we have seen recently in the meta that sometimes it's just who clicks their spells better in a 5-on-5 team fight. But overall, I definitely favor VGJ.
All right, must win coming up here for really Team Leviathan. Obviously, as we mentioned, I don't know if it's 100% they would be out, but it's going to be a tough one at that against the undefeated VGJ.Storm. So,
Yep.
pretty Blitz, what do you think? Yeah, those odds are pretty brutal, by the way. Are you leaning towards Storm?
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards
Taking
Storm.
the odds on this one, huh?
Taking Storm.
Yeah, I would take Storm right there, even with those odds. This is a game that's Storm. I don't see them losing it.
Well, you guys are Breaky. You said Storm as well, right?
I said Storm as well. Yeah.
I also think Storm. Mr. P also probably says Storm. You guys are about to make like Leviathan and get out of here. So
we are.
goodbye. Thank you for joining me.
Good luck, guys.
And Mr. P.
Hey, back into this one. More rage, please. Your resident Canadian Dota 2 caster, Brax, my trusty companion, as Newsome top lane. Gonna bump into Snaking here for a moment, and it is gonna be that MSS4 position, Wind Ranger. Pretty damn strong dual lane here, Brax. Eh?
Yeah, definitely very strong. But I don't know. I think the Veno actually won't be able to lane this. Like at all. Like you'd think that you know, with ET and Venomancer, you'd be able to stand up to most dual lanes, but it's Windrunner, Beastmaster with the Drow Aura on top of it. I actually don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah, you get the extra bonus physical damage from the Wild Axes. It could be real dicey for these couple of heroes. And, you know, Veno, ranged hero, but a little bit slow in attacking and moving in general. So could be a rather risky or rather perilous lane for him. So SVG joins up just to secure the rune top lane. But it will end up being a 2-for-2 trade-off. And meanwhile, Lokarn doing Skywrath Mage things, bottom, annoying Rezo out of lane. And like we saw with Arteezy the previous game, it'll force Rezo to TP in towards the tower. There is a lane ward here down for the Dire as well. So it looks like this will be where they intend to make the most action happen early on. MSS makes his way down bottom, looks to maybe try and secure first blood on Lokarn, but he's actually just going to swap for now with SVG's Winter Wyvern.
Pretty interesting that they VGJ.Storm decide to put the Winter Wyvern up top with Beastmaster instead of the Wind Ranger. You think Wind Ranger like has the better lane support, but well, actually MSS, he's dead.
Yeah, nice body blocks by Jenkins, gets the burrow off with the damage from the Skywrath Mage. They're able to secure first blood, so good start off for Leviathan. And this is going to allow Snaking to farm with pretty much impunity, though, right? I mean, you got the Cold Embrace behind you, maybe even a point in the Arctic Burn, and allows you to get off an extra set of Wild Axes.
Yeah, definitely. And MSS went for the power shot level 1 so we could try to trade back and forth with the Skywrath Mage, but in the end, it ends up biting him. Usually we see the win run.
So the dual Ranger lane for now, bottom lane is going to take a casualty, but they'll just continue to go back to farming. And you know, it feels like without a misstep or without a couple levels in concussive shot, well, I say that top lane, a little bit of action happening here, but the Gale through 2 from BSJ will keep Newsham alive. But yeah, I was going to say, it just feels like without a misstep, they should be fairly safe in this bottom lane.
Yep, and the bottom lane is safe, but not so much up top. Snaking. Jesus, ET hits hard.
And Newsham going to be able to back off. A lot of trading. Regen very lacking on either side here in this top lane. BSJ on 1 Tango, Newsham on 1 as well, and their counterparts pretty much at parity as far as regen goes. 1-0 for Leviathan here in the early going, and as Dragon Knights tend to do with a Stout Shield and Quelling Blade. Yawar getting off to a good start as far as CS goes, even versus the Grave Chill of the Visage.
Yeah, it's a weird matchup because DK doesn't really pressure the Visage, but DK also is completely untouched by Visage. Like, he just ignores him and farms the Quelling Blade, so it's complete free farm. But Visage doesn't really transform into a hero until he hits that level 6 mark, so this is kind of expected, I guess.
Yeah. And at least you can secure that the levels will be there pretty early for Sammy Boy. Just 4 denies thus far. As long as Sammy Boy can stay on top of the Grave Chills when the range creep gets near low, he should be just fine to continue progressing. MSS going to whiff the power shot bottom lane, and Jenkins makes his way over to the west to deter any further aggression from the Wind Ranger.
Yep, this lane is actually going very well for Leviathan, this bottom lane. The Sand King and Skywrath Mage have pretty much full control over this lane. And I like the way they set up their lanes. They could have had ET in the bottom lane instead of the Skywrath Mage, but it makes a lot of sense they lane it like this because, of course, the ET melee hero against Dro, right? You have to walk in close range to hit these heroes, so quite smart.
Yeah, having the 1 range, 1 melee set up on both sides of the map is going to mean, in general, that they can kind of keep aggression at bay. And yeah, as we mentioned before, the mid lane going very well for VGJ.Storm here early on. So despite conceding the first blood, it looks like the lanes feel pretty darn good for them. Even BSJ's Venoments are here being surpassed in CS by both Snake King and Resolution.
Yep, top 3 CS leaders belong to the side of VGJ.Storm.
But as you mentioned in the draft, it's going to be really nice for the tempo of Leviathan to have their Sand King get off to an early start. If he's able to get a level, speaking of that Sand King, into towards Resolution with the Burrow Strike, the Gust only connects onto the Skywrath. Unable Rezo was to hit it onto Jenkins. And now Concussive Shot comes out. Jenkins has another Burrow Strike. They get a double kill in the bottom lane. Leviathan 3-0 up against the undefeated first place to VGJ.Storm in the groups thus far. And a couple of tips fly out onto Rezo as well.
I'm pretty sure the Courier just killed Rezo. He had his stick in the bottom right-hand slot, and then he just moved it there, actually, after it got completed. But it got shifted into the top right slot, so he probably pressed the wrong hotkey for it.
Oh, rip.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, 7 charges probably would have kept him alive. Echo Stomp going to be dodged by Snake King top. He'll be able to secure that 5-minute rune. And the Radiant, in fact, will get 3 of them. SVG and Snake King have a bottle of their own in this top lane. We're seeing more and more of this side lane bottle. And BSJ gets caught with the Arctic Burn and the Splinter Blast. Wild Axe is there. Nice dodge by the Gale from Snake King and the Stomp. BSJ could be in trouble. One more Wild Axes and a right click should finish him off here. And Snake King will just right click him down into fatal range. And now Nushim in trouble. Splinter Blast is there as well. 7 stick charges available for Snake King, but not willing to concede his death when he got the most important kill out of the lane. And VGJ.Storm come roaring back with that one.
Yeah, very nicely played. The side steps from Snake King managing to juke out the Gale. Very nicely done.
He's going to pull his wave, force BSJ to blast it under tower, let the Cardi do a little bit of work as well. BSJ forced to Gale the siege creep. And after a 3-0 lead for Leviathan, the gold now in favor of VGJ.Storm as Yawar pops his first Dragon Form mid. He'll do that along with the siege creep wave here at the 6-minute mark and put in some pretty significant damage in. Sammy Boy, though, does pick up the familiars almost simultaneously to the Dragon Form coming out. And we'll kind of try to put an end to this. Grave Chill comes out. No TPs inbound, though, to this mid lane, but Yawar, even with 3 points in the Dragon Blood, taking a pretty fair amount of damage.
Yep, and now Visage finally. This hero is online, right? You can actually last hit, push these heroes out. You feel like a real hero that's threatening now.
MSS bottom lane, power shot flies, does not connect with Lokarn. He'll be forced to salve up. Rezo, last thing under tower still, though, doing pretty admirably on the Drow Ranger, considering just as a Wind Ranger support nearby with 30 CS. Stomp top lane, Snake King in trouble. Splinter Blast will try and keep them at bay, but it looks like BSJ and Nushim should net themselves a kill here. Wild Axes do fly out. And a nice denial from SVG as well onto the Beastmaster. Unfortunate for the Leviathan safe lane. Meanwhile, bot lane MSS There's a couple of arcane bolts thrown his way. Jenkins in trouble. Gus flies out, but the burrow is through it. One last right click though for Rezo, nets the kill and the win run away from MSS. No, won't keep him safe. The ward vision from the Dire side facilitates that kill for the Skywrath, but they do get 2 for Rezo in the bottom lane. A nice little catch up for Resolution, who pole vaults him to 2nd overall in the net worth.
Yeah, that was very good for VGJ. And this game gets even worse and worse for Leviathan because Beastmaster's about to hit 6. DK's going to have his ultimate. Like, he took half the HP from the mid tower with that one push just by himself.
Yeah, top power rather healthy, but like you said, after a rocky start as MSS finds himself a kill bottom lane, things looking better and better for VGJ. Dragon Form, Dragon Tail, pop mid onto the Visage, and even with the Grave Chill, looks like he's in trouble. He will fall. Corrosive Breath and Arctic Burn dots, ensuring that the Visage takes a spill mid.
Oh man, and the birds are next too. You know, when Visage dies over and over, right, and he's got no birds to work with, it's just so sad.
It is.
He's got no more friends.
Hero seems to not do all that much. Meanwhile, Resolution bottom lane working on Jenkins, who was perhaps in some sense the silver lining for this lineup early on, as that his lane was going very well, but now VGJ.Storm in the bottom lane with a couple of response kills. No real item progression here for the Sand King, just a Ring of Health on top of the Tranquils. And so VGJ.Storm very content with how the last couple of minutes has gone. Maybe they can start to put some pressure as a unit into this top tower. Speaking of which, though, Sammy Boy with the familiars is going to do some damage to mid as we have a bit of a break in the action. Yawar making his way over towards that mid lane tower.
This game is so weird because, like, Sand King isn't in a position where he can actually pressure the Drow Ranger in front of him because Draw's about to hit level 8. Sand King's almost 6, but not quite there yet. And the safe lane from Team Leviathan is being heavily pressured from the Beastmaster. Like, there's going to be a point where Venomancer just can't lane anymore. Like, he's already gone down once, but now that the Roar is available, I don't see how he can possibly even want to stand in this lane. But then again, there's nowhere he can really rotate to make a play as well. It feels like they need to move too many heroes to actually make a play somewhere. And it just seems so unlikely.
Yeah, and they don't have that big team fight ultimate from BSJ as well, and he doesn't really have any opportunity to push. I mean, even in the support duo of VGJ.Storm side, you have so much wave clear with the Splinter Blast and the Power Shot that it just feels like this Veno pick has been a bit awkward through this early game for Leviathan. We'll see if they can kind of recover through the team fight avenue. But for now, VGJ kind of farming everywhere on the map.
Yeah, and they are accelerating, and there's nothing coming to stop them at all. Like, Venomancer's just going to keep doing what he's doing. It's not like it's going to hit some gigantic power spike that changes the game. Like, this is what the hero does. He sets up in a lane with wards and tries to take control that way. I mean, Visage, people want to move to him. He doesn't really want to move, but he's got this DK in front of him with 18 armor that he just can't get through.
3 bounty runes at the least going the way of the Radiant side as well. Meanwhile, mid lane, Dragon Form popped once again by Yawar, and the Visage is nearby, perhaps looking for the denial. They do get the glyph off. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they go in on the Skywrath Mage. Jenkins is low as well, and with the TP in from Snake King and the usage of the Roar, 2 kills for free for Leviathan. Meanwhile, though, maybe not entirely, or for VGJ.Storm, I should say, not entirely for free, as mid lane they were going on Yawar, but a beautiful Winter's Curse on top of the Visage is gonna allow him to finish off his teammate, which is the Nusham Elder Titan. And nice rotations all around. The Beastmaster down to bottom, then MSS and SVG quickly to mid, and this will secure them not only 3 kills across the entirety of the map, but also the tier 1 mid, and potentially even the tier 1 bottom as they begin to put pressure into it. Inner Beast nearby from Snake King, level 3, and the Drow Ranger, but looks like TPs from Jenkins and Lokarn will stymie the bleeding for now.
The Precision Aura on the catapults makes a hit for like 130 damage on the tower each hit. It gets ridiculous.
And we saw them take a tier 3 last game for Optic.
All right, MRP. It's a 7,000 gold lead at 11 minutes, and it's about to get even worse and worse, right? DK ultimate comes up in 35 seconds. There's no mid lane tower, so Visage feels like he just can't sit there anymore. They are making a rotation down bottom, finally, but this feels more like a reactionary play rather than the play that they're making on their own. It's more like, well, Visage doesn't want to go back mid, so might as well go bottom and push this tower. And because it's reactionary, right? They're already on the back foot. They've lost their mid tower. They feel like this is the only real option they have, and I guess this isn't so bad though. BSJ has a bunch of plague wards up top, so it slows down the push by, you know, good 2.5 seconds.
And it'll give the Visage a little bit of gold, but you know, being in a scenario where they have to be together in lane, well, Stomp Climbs out onto Yawar. They don't have enough damage to kill this DK, but they will at least snag the rune away from him. I was gonna say, being in a scenario where you need to have multiple heroes in lane, if any at all, is going to mean that often you're splitting experience, and maybe just now Jenkins picks up his epicenter. Still, there's no Poison Nova for BSJ, so they just can't quite assemble a fight yet. There's no initiation tool on their side as far as items go. SVG, though, looking to ward, could be in a little bit of trouble. Gets the Arctic Burn off, though, and looks like he'll be able to make it to the low ground. So desperately trying to find some space is Jenkins over in the bottom side, but now he looks to join the fray as he'll burrow up MSS. And Mystic Flare will be there, but the wind run allows him to make it back. It looks like Arcane Bolt will actually finish him off. The tower shot will do the deed beforehand. So they do get the 1 kill, but it's 80 to 90% of this HP taken out of the tier 2 top lane before that happens.
Yeah, and that's it is good for your Sand King to rotate, but of course he wants to finish up his core items so he can actually begin team fighting, or else they're just going to have to drop these tier 2 towers for free.
Roar gonna go out right on top of the shrine. Looks like the stomp will be there to keep Lokarn up for now, but they'll kill off the Elder Titan instead with Rezo up on the high ground. Snake King is still surviving up on the north side. They get the Dragon Tail off as well onto the Sand King and finish him off. Double kill for Rezo and a kill for Yawar. And this tier 2 not long for this world. Cold Embrace will keep Snake King in fighting shape, and with the Inner Beast, maybe they put a couple of right clicks into this tier 3.
Yep, perhaps. And with that tier 2 tower going down, Roshan becomes an easier objective to take because, of course, they can't TP to the tower to actually reclaim back that part of the map. And that's truly when the game spirals out of control. I know it's a 9,000 goal lead at 14 minutes, which is insane, but the game doesn't really end until there's like a Roshan play, right? An Aegis push.
Yeah, BSJ perhaps hanging around a little bit too long bottom lane. May just end up going down the Corrosive Breath here. He switches to Strength Treads and it'll help him survive. But yeah, there was a ward on top of the shrine, and nice. Yawar Shadow Bladed under it. So BSJ was aware, started backing, but perhaps not quickly enough. Just makes it away. MSS.
Oh, breaks the smoke.
Yeah, gets the wind run off. Jenkins, though, looking for the burrow, finds it uphill as, again, that ward paying dividends for the Dire side. They do get the Wind Ranger kill early on, but now looking to re-engage with Rezo. Looks like they'll find the Sand King trade. Under a sentry, though, was Yawar. He's going to be forced back. They do have the Winter's Curse, however, and so looking not to convene too tightly was the Leviathan squad. Overall, it'll be a 1-for-1. No real trades being found elsewhere. The Visage Birds not being microed currently top lane are going to be pulled forward to maybe try and put some damage into this tier 1.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, they know that VGJ.Storm are just going to group up and run down lanes together, so the Visage Birds just split push instead. Of course, they're extremely vulnerable when they're split pushing because you don't have the aura to protect them, so they die to anything. But it makes sense. They need to find something that can actually do on the map to be productive, because right now they're just sitting behind their towers and just waiting for VGJ.Storm to come to them and try to take some sort of fight. But no blink on Sand King makes it so that they pretty much need a smoke to be able to fight effectively. But, you know, Vanguard, it makes a lot of sense against Drow lineups, especially once you complete the Crimson Guard. Lots of right clicks coming out, mitigates a lot of damage. But it's one of these cases where you need way too many items to actually fight on your terms, right?
And it's going to be a while before that's completed up. In addition, they really don't have much damage aside from just their innate toolkits. We saw them bring down the support Wind Ranger, but even that was a little bit difficult. And it's in excess of a 10k net worth lead generated to this point in the game, only 16 minutes in, and we are going to see VGJ.Storm take a peek at the Roche with the Cold Embrace and the Focus Fire. Should be a pretty quick Roche attempt.
Yeah, it's going very fast with the Drow or Beastmaster or Windrunner can tank it up safely too. And this, there's honestly no way they can really contest it. They do have good heroes around the Roshan pit, but it's just the farm discrepancy is way too big at this stage of the game to really fight it at all.
Yawar begins preparations on the mid lane after taking the Aegis, and he'll be joined by his teammates shortly. SVG, though, makes a retreat back into the Radiant Jungle. Could be threatened We talked about the potency of this kill duo here. Jenkins and Lokarn looking for the burrow. Nice fly over the cliff from SVG, and Avery going to make his way to safety. VGJ.Storm has a Cardi here, but MSS going to rotate in, looking to find the SK. It's actually a pretty big commitment from VGJ.Storm to take out the initiator, and now Rezo on the north side working on the Skywrath Mage. Look at this hero with no armor, just going to be shredded by the bow of Rezo, and that'll mean a pretty easy, it feels, mid lane push for them as they are joined once again by Snake King, who's top lane.
Yep, and BSJ slowly building up the ward army. They die in 2 hits to pretty much every hero on the side of VGJ.Storm because of the bonus damage from Dro, but it's better than nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just can't see Leviathan's win condition. Like, they need to be able to fight, and they haven't been able to fight at all since like the 4-minute mark in this game.
Yeah,
it's pretty rough.
Still holding a skill point is BSJ at this point. Looking to, oh, actually he got the talent. What am I talking about? But still doesn't have the Poison Nova. Has the Veil though, and they make a rotation into bottom lane to take out MSS. In the meantime, Snake King forcing in top lane, pop the Necro 2s here, and likely will force a reaction out. As TP was still in the backpack for Sammy Boy, he now TP's back, but he's not gonna have his birds with him. And Snake King notices that it's the Visage, tries to go forward onto him, but will not be able to net the kill. In the meantime, they do end up getting the Winter Wyvern bottom lane. Debuff from the Solar Crest. And it makes Snake King a little bit vulnerable, but he's able to back out to safety. Rezo wanted to press up to high ground, but you know, it being daytime may have been a little bit dicey.
All right, well, still, Snake King creates a lot of space up in the top lane, and they could have potentially led to something, but it doesn't happen. The big issue here is Sand King is not farming anything at all, right? Like, he has no space to work with. He's 2,000 gold away from Blink Dagger, and only Venomancer can actually push out these lanes safely. Even Visage is pretty threatened by these heroes, and they do find Rezo with the smoke, but they go the wrong way. Unfortunate.
He's got the Aegis as well, but yeah, didn't have too much support inbound, so probably could have died twice if they were able to locate him. Jenkins will try and hit some jungle creeps, but as you mentioned, he is a far cry away from anything significant as far as item progression goes. Snake King, though, perhaps in a little bit more of a vulnerable position. His Hawk is going to get taken out. Axes will fly, and that'll tip off Leviathan to his whereabouts. But in the meantime, the rest of VGJ looks like they're going to reconvene in the middle lane and look to press forward. They have an Aether Lens up on SVG as well, as he finds himself a nook in the tree, so a little bit longer range of initiation for that Winter's Curse, which we've seen do much work already with the Visage being caught inside it. Top lane, Skywrath Mage going to be taken out as Rezo doing work with his Shadow Blade thus far.
Yep, nothing is safe on this map at all. And MSS draws a circle over the only area Leviathan can actually enter, and they're approaching the smoke, walking up the high ground.
And good vision in the area for the Dire, but an instant roar onto the Elder Titan is going to stop the stomp. They'll be able to take him out. Snake King taking a lot of the damage, but so is BSJ. And it's a 2-for-1 deal in the early going in the bottom lane. BSJ running down to the south. The Necro unit's going to purge him up. MSS still pursuing and has a Shackle in 3 seconds. We'll get the power shot off. Shackle available now. Will latch onto the tree, and MSS, as his teammates look to work into the base of the Dire, takes out the Dire safe lane carry. Tier 3 going to drop in the meantime. Rezo from the low ground with the Dragon Lance, putting in some damage into these towers, and Lokarn really not able to get close. We've seen already what Rezo can do to that. Poor Flying Chicken. Yawar into the Shadow Blade, going to make his way up towards the top side of the base, and gets in between the 2 stomps. Aether Lens is there, is forced to pop his BKB, but almost baits in Leviathan because of it. Now BSJ in trouble. Jenkins going to be dusted up, but he makes it back. And nice covering Winter's Curse to help Yawar TP out. They won't end up getting the racks for it, but they do secure the buyback of BSJ's Venomancer and do some major economical damage as we see a 20k net worth lead generated here by the Radiant.
Yep, and VGJ.Storm, they're able to attack multiple parts of the map, right? They're not all just barreling down one lane. They're making strategic plays across the map, giving them the space to keep hitting these buildings and make plays. It's very nice.
Arcane Rune on Snaking as well allows him to pop the Necro Books with ease. He's got a Roar if he needs it. They don't have their DK just yet, as Yawar was forced to TP out under his BKB, but the Sand King walks forward into a Gust, and he's going to be taken out. Jenkins does have buyback here, but on the sidelines for 30 seconds, Glyph is going to be popped, rotating around. MSS looking to join the fray as well. As Resolution finishes off the melee racks, backs out to reset with his unit. Wild Axes fly through. Roar is there with the power shot, perfectly placed. The stomp will keep them at bay for a moment as Sammy Boy still survives. BSJ jumping forward with the blink into the ultimate, but the BKBs are there, just like Blitz mentioned in the draft. And Rezo feeling nigh unkillable at this point as they eliminate the first set of racks. Yawar working on the tier 3 mid takes that down. And BSJ, the former VGJ.Storm carry, is going to call it against his former badge as the undefeated VGJ.Storm, looking just like that sounds, taking out Leviathan Reunion in 22 minutes here, Brax.
Yep, not even close, honestly. It's also the nature of the draft, right? A Drow Ranger with the DK, once you get off to that good start, you can really snowball the lead thanks to all this objective-taking power. Like, once you start to lose real quick. Like, all these towers die, then Roche is next. You just go down the checklist, essentially, and it's super easy at that point.
Yeah, really good job of stabilizing in the lanes by VGJ.Storm after the early bit of rockiness. But, you know, we talked about VGJ being undefeated. Next game will be EG versus Just a Squad, but after that is going to be EG versus VGJ.Storm. So considering that they've already beaten Optic, that's probably the biggest test for VGJ.Storm coming up.
Hello.
Yep. Hello.
That was an interesting game. I mean, it's turned out as we kind of expected, let's be honest here, but I think back at the draft, and that Winter Wyvern pick, I feel like that really threw off Team Leviathan.
Yes.
Because I definitely think they wanted the Drow. And when that happened, as you pointed out, it's like, well, they can't really go the Drow now. They forced the Elder Titan instead. And then VGJ.Storm was like, yeah, we'll take the Drow ourselves. So, Drow, I mean, do teams need to start banning this hero against Storm especially?
I think it's a really good hero right now. It's like it bolsters your laning phase, makes all your mid matchups really good. You don't really have to do anything. The hero independently feels very strong. A lot of the heroes that work good against her don't feel like they're as relevant anymore. So, I mean, maybe we'll see other counters around it. Like we saw like the Last Man Spectre and stuff like that. Maybe we see that open up earlier. Not sure.
I like the Drow a lot because to counter the hero, it's not that complicated, right? You get on top of her, heroes like Slark, heroes like Spectre, like you're talking about, but you're never going to counteract the laning aspect, right? Yeah. What happens when there's this off-lane Wind Ranger support that just dominates some lane extremely hard, or some range hero, you know, that dominates that matchup, like we saw Mirana one game, now we see DK. DK doesn't traditionally do a whole lot of damage, you know, with his right clicks, but that's one way to solve that problem. You know, it's it just enhances your whole team.
Absolutely is, and VGJ.Storm, they play, as MRP was talking about, they play Evil Geniuses after this next series, so that'll be yet again a good one and a pretty hype one to say the least. But EG versus Just a Squad. Just a Squad, the qualifying to the second qualifiers, they were ultimately the last team to qualify here for the NA region. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these names. Scourge McDuck, Sketch, Evaden, Chiviz, and Versatile. Any of these names ring a bell here?
Evident just played at the CSL finals.
Evident, okay.
He, I can't remember what university that he plays for.
I definitely recognize some of these names. There are some good players, for sure.
Obviously qualifying, that means something, but
yeah,
tough matchup to say the least against EG.
They misspelled their name. JSUT Squad.
Oh, they did, yes.
Yeah.
Whoops. Wonder if that was on purpose.
Maybe that's Wikipedia's fault.
Might be Liquid. No, I think that's more the logo, actually. Yeah, and I think
true.
they actually, it's a purposeful thing. We'll see how they do against EG. That's going to be coming up next. Speaking of that, once again, MRP, I believe, going to be casting here. So stay tuned, guys. EG versus Just a Squad coming up next.